Good morning. Now we are going to start this topic movement along supply curve and shift in supply curve. See, we have already seen that supply majorly changes with the changes in price. Okay. Whenever there is a change in the price of a commodity, we have already seen there is a direct relationship with the change in supply. And what do we call it as? Change in quantity supplied, right? We already saw this. And we also saw that this price has to be of the commodity itself. Okay. The commodity itself. However, if there is any other factor because of which there is any change and as a consequence supply changes, then we term it as change in supply. For example, if there is change in technology, state of technology, change in number of firms, or any other reason, supposing there is a change in the cost of factors of production, then we say that the supply has changed because of this particular change. Now, how is it linked with the movement along supply curve and shifts in supply curve? Let us understand that. See, when quantity changes, when this quantity is supplied, this changes with the change in the price. When this changes with the change in the price of the commodity itself. If it changes with the price of the commodity itself, and when I keep other factors constant, when I keep other factors constant, then I say that there is a change. This particular quantity supplied change is known as change in quantity supplied, right? And normally there is a movement along supply curve in such a case. Okay, you will find that there is a movement along supply curve in such a case. Now, how do we go about it? How do we understand this? Let us understand this. Movement along supply curve means it is either going to move upwards or it is going to move downwards, right? That is how it's going to move. And there'll be some special terms for this. So let us understand what are those terms, right? The first term for this is expansion in supply, which we are going to understand, right? The first term for this is expansion in supply. Now, expansion in supply is basically the rise in the quantity supplied due to increase in the price of the commodity itself, as I told you just now, keeping other factors constant. Okay. This we have just now seen. Now let us try to understand this with the help of a schedule and a graph. Now let us take a hypothetical schedule wherein the price of the commodity in rupees was, let us say, 20, and the quantity in units was, let us say, 100. Now the price has increased to 25 and as a consequence, the supply has gone up to 150. Okay. So how do we depict this? Now let us try to plot this. I'm taking price on this side and quantity supplied on this x-axis, correct? This is how I'm going to plot this. So basically, let us now put the scale here. Like this is 20 and then we have 25 over here, right? And in this case, I'll take this as 100 and I'll take this as 150, right? So at 20, at this price 20, the supply was 100. And at price 25, we saw that the units have increased to 150. So if I join this A point and B point, right, what do I observe? I observe that from this A point, there is a movement this side towards B on the supply, right? So what do you observe? That there is an upward movement along the same supply curve, right? There is an upward movement along the same supply curve. You also know this by the name of extension in supply. Okay, this is also known as extension in supply, or you also call it as increase in quantity supplied, right? So it is an upward movement and along the same supply curve. There is no change, there is no shift, okay? So along the same supply curve, you are able to observe an upward movement, correct? So this is also known as expansion in supply, okay? I hope this is clear. Now let us go to contraction in supply. Okay. Let us now understand contraction in supply. I'm quickly taking one schedule for this. Let us take price, same 20, okay, and 15. And QS, let us take in units, 100 and 70, right? So what do I do for this? Let us plot this now. 20. At 20, let us say it was 100. So let us say it was at this point. And at 15, now it is at 70. So it is this point. Okay. So here we have price and here we have QS. Okay. So this is the point. Now from A to B, we are falling down. Okay. So if I take this as a supply curve, let us take this as a supply curve. So what do you observe in this case? There is a downward movement. There is a downward movement along the same supply curve. There is a downward movement along the same supply curve, right? Also, this is known by a particular name. You can also say this as contraction in supply. You can also understand it as decrease in quantity supply. I hope it is clear. A very easy concept. Okay. So this is the price of the commodity. It has fallen down from 20 to 15. The quantity supplied falls down from 100 to 70. Okay. The price is 20. At 20, we had this individual supplied 100 units. At 15, it falls down to 70. So this is known as downward movement and also known as decrease in quantity supplied. So this is actually what is the technical name for this? Contraction in supply. So I hope both these things are clear. You can quickly see this. This was expansion in supply. When price increased, supply increased. There was an upward movement, extension in supply or increase in quantity supplied. Only price considered, other factors constant. Same way, price fallen down, the quantity supplied falls down, right? Now let us resume with shift in supply curve. Okay. Now what happens when there is a shift in supply curve? You will usually find that the supply curve either shifts rightwards or it shifts leftwards. Okay. There may be a rightward shift or there may be a leftward shift in the supply curve. So now what causes that kind of shift? Let us understand that. Okay. Now, the first case which we are going to take, I'm going to take a schedule. Let us say the price of a particular commodity is 20 rupees per unit. Okay. And at this price, the supply, I'm not using quantity supplied here. The supply in units is 100. Okay. So at 20 rupees, I'm supplying 100 units. And at the same price, I start supplying 150. Now, when can this situation be possible? This can be possible, let us say, when the factors of production which I'm using, they are now available to me at a lower rate of lower rate or lower charge. So basically, what am I trying to show? That there has been an increase in supply. You can see that there is an increase in supply. And what is it actually? This is a rise which is caused due to any factor. This is a rise basically in supply, which is caused due to any factor of um, anything, like any factor other than own price of commodity, other than own price. Okay, maybe the technology has improved or the cost of production has decreased. Fine. So this is that situation. Let us say you have improved you're using better technology now and you are able to produce more even when the market price is remaining the same. So what happens in this case to the supply curve? Let us see that. This is here I'm writing QS and here I'm writing price. You can also write supply over here. Okay. So this is Y axis and this is your X axis. Okay. So at the same price 20, initially it was 100. Okay. So let us say this was this point. And because of this point, I'm making a supply curve like this. Okay. This was the point on the supply curve, and this was the SS supply curve. Now at the same price, I can supply 150. So the supply curve, the new one, lies like this. S1, S1. And you observe that there is a rightward shift. Okay. There is a rightward shift in the supply curve. Is it due to the price? Has the price increased or fallen? There is no increase here, no decrease here. Still, I'm able to increase the supply. So this S1, this new supply curve is basically representing increase in supply. Okay. And this is basically the rise in the supply of this commodity, which is caused due to any factor other than the own price of the commodity, right? So basically supply is rising at the same price. And or you can also say that, let us say the price falls down, then also it is remaining constant. That is also one situation which you can envisage in this. Okay. Now we'll understand decrease in supply. Okay, so this was the rightward shift, which we understood as increase in supply. Now we'll understand decrease in supply, and therein you will observe a leftward shift, right? So decrease in supply, we'll first see the schedule as price 20. It's remaining the same. And in supply, I'm taking here 100. And now it has become 70. Okay. So this can be maybe your machinery has become dilapidated or your cost of production has increased. Government has levied some taxes or something. Many reasons can be there for a producer to or a supplier to reduce his supply. But definitely it is not due to the price. The price has remained constant. So what do I do in this case? Now in this case, let us plot this first. Okay. Now if I plot this, now how do I plot this? Let us say this was 20. At 20, I was initially supplying, let us say 100 units. Okay. So this was the point, and this was my initial supply curve, right? This was my initial SS supply curve. Now at the same price, I'm able to supply 70, right? So at 70, now if I cross this with 20, so now my supply curve will lie somewhere here. Okay. So it's going to become this S2, S2. So you observe there is a leftward shift in the supply curve. So, okay. So there is a leftward shift. There is a leftward shift in the supply curve. That means at the same price, your supply has reduced. Okay. So you can see here that supply falls at the same price or supply remains same even at higher price. This is what is your decrease in supply. Okay. So now I'm quickly going to take a recap of what all we have done and what are the reasons for that. Okay. Let us quickly understand that. So basically what we have seen till now is that there can be change in supply. Okay. There can be change in supply, and this change in supply can be due to many factors. Okay, this change in supply can be due to many factors. And okay, let me first take change in supply and then I'll go back to quantity supply. So this change in supply, this can occur due to factors other than price. So if there is any change in the factors other than price, it will happen. So basically the change in supply, you can see here, is basically due to change in factors other than price. This leads to shift in supply curve. This can be either rightward shift or leftward shift, right? You can see this here, either rightward shift or leftward shift. We just now saw that. And the rightward shift is known as increase in supply and the leftward shift is known as decrease in supply. Okay. So these are the ways supply can change. And how is it caused? What does it lead to? What are the shifts? We have understood that. Okay. Now let us quickly understand about change. Take a recap of change in quantity supplied also. Okay. So here you can see there is change in quantity supplied. This is due to change in price. What does it lead to? It leads to movement along the supply curve. This movement can be upward also or downward also. And what it is known as, it is known as expansion in supply and contraction in supply. Okay. So we have already understood these particular concepts. Okay. So if I briefly put it like this, so what is change in quantity supplied? If I want to show the movement, so there is a supply curve This is the upward movement and this is the downward movement. And if there is a supply curve which shifts to the right, this is a change in supply, okay? And this is the increase. And if it is leftward, then it is decrease. Got it? So these are some of the concepts which we have understood right now. Now let us quickly understand this through questions also. Now in this case, you can see that the price is 10. It has remained 10, but the supply has increased. Okay. So at the same price, if you can see there is an increase in supply, then what do you call it as? This is increase in supply. Okay. Because I want you to differentiate or demarcate them amongst expansion, contraction, decrease or increase. Okay, so you have to identify. If you have to identify, how will you do that? You'll see that the price is same, however the supply has increased, so it is not due to price and therefore it is increase. Okay, now let us take one more example. Now the second example is that there is a decrease in price from 5 to 4 and the supply has fallen from 80 to 65. Okay. Now the price has fallen, consequently the supply has fallen, right? So this is not a case which remains unaffected because of the price. So what do you call this as? Is it increase, decrease, contraction or expansion? It is contraction, right? The supply has contracted, what you can say. It is contraction case. Now, in this case, 15, 15, 1, at this price, 15, the initial supply was 80, right? And now it has fallen down. Is it due to the price? No, it is not. Maybe it is due to some other factor, right? So when at the same price, the supply falls down, okay? When at the same price, supply falls down, what is the case? The case is decrease, correct? And when there is a price increase because of which supply increases, when there is a price increase from 2 to 3 and the supply increases, what do you call that as? You call that as expansion. Okay, I hope all these examples are clear. You can quickly go through them once again. Now, we will also understand that there are certain exceptions. Okay, we have now till now understood what is the law of supply. We have today understood what is the movement along supply curve and what is expansion, what is contraction, what are the different kinds of shifts also. Now we are going to understand whether the law of supply has any exceptions also or not. So we'll start with that in 2 minutes. Now let us understand the exceptions. Okay, exceptions to the law of supply. First of all, the first exception we are taking is future expectations. See, if I understand that the product which I'm going to supply is going to fetch a better price in future, or if there is going to be a fall in the price in future, then definitely I will change my supply. So let us say I'm expecting a fall in the price in future, then the law of supply will definitely not hold true. What will happen in this case if there is a fall in the price in future? What will happen? The sellers will be they'll be willing to sell more. They'll be willing to sell more when? Today or tomorrow? Naturally today. Okay. So they know that this is the expectation. This is the expectation in future. So tomorrow the same thing will have to be supplied at a lower price. So I will sell today more. So today, if I'm willing to sell more, my supply will increase. Okay. And vice versa, if they feel that the prices are going to increase, then my current supply will fall down. Right. So this is how it's going to operate. Whereas we have already seen that with the change in price only, if I keep other factors constant, the supply changes. But if I now see, in spite of there being no change in price, my supply has increased. Why? Because I'm assuming that in future, the prices of this commodity might fall, right? So I'm talking about this law of supply. You remember in law of supply, we kept all other factors constant. First of all, what is law of supply is that the moment price increases, supply will increase. Price falls, supply will fall, right? But what are the exceptions to this? Future expectations. Second is agricultural goods. Agricultural goods is also an exception. Okay. See, agricultural goods production depends mainly on climatic conditions. Fine. Now, in this case, if let us say there is an unforeseen changes in the weather, then obviously the production will be low. Let us say the weather was bad. What will happen to the production? The production is going to fall, and because of this, supply will fall. So, is it because of the change in prices? No. So, in agricultural goods, you can't say always that the law of supply will hold good, and if the price increases, I will increase my supply. I don't have anything to increase. How can I increase if the weather was bad, right? Then, similarly, in perishable goods. Now, what are perishable goods? Which have a very small shelf life, which can deteriorate very easily. So in case of perishable goods, let us say like fruits or vegetables, etc., what happens is that, let us say I'm a vendor and there is a weekly market and it's almost time to wind up. Maybe it's 12 p.m. at night. So at that moment, I will be willing to supply more even when the price which I'm able to receive or which I'm able to fetch has fallen down. So in case of perishable goods, I know because if I don't sell it today, in any case, it's going to be waste tomorrow. So in perishable goods, again, initially, obviously, if the prices are rising, I'll supply more. But the moment that state of perishing is like very near, then what happens is even at low prices, I would be willing to increase my supply and finish my stock. Then rare articles. If the article is rare, precious article, in that case, obviously, the more is the price. It's going to be outside the law of scope, this supply. Because painting of Mona Lisa, I cannot increase that supply. If I say that, okay, you give me more price, I will give you two Mona Lisa paintings. No, supply is one only. So that way, this law will not apply in case of rare articles. Last I'm going to take is backward countries. Now, backward countries, especially I'm talking about economically backward countries, the production and supply in those countries cannot be supply. You cannot increase that with the rise in price. That means even if the people are willing to pay more, you cannot increase production. Why? Because there is shortage of resources. So because of shortage of resources, what happens is even if some people are willing to pay more prices, the supply cannot be increased. So in this kind of a situation, the law of supply does not apply. Okay. So whenever there is any future expectation with respect to price or the goods are agricultural goods, perishable goods, rare articles or some backward countries, you very easily are able to identify the exceptions to law of supply. I hope this much was clear. First, you please go through this video and then if there is any doubt, discuss it with me. We'll keep on posting some more videos and then we'll keep on covering some more topics. Thank you.